Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really going deep into some incredibly bizarre, truly astonishing medical conditions. Things that just challenge everything you think you know about, the human body.
Absolutely.
Like imagine this. You wake up, you feel totally drunk, but you haven't had a single drop of alcohol.
Yeah.
Or maybe your voice. It suddenly has this foreign accent, one you've never even heard before, let alone spoken.
It sounds like fiction, but it's real.
Exactly. So our mission today is basically to give you a quick rundown, get you well informed on these strange realities. We've got some surprising facts, some real insights lined up.
And it's important to remember these rare conditions, they're humbling for medical science. They really push the limits of, biology and what we can even comprehend.
Yeah.
But beyond the, the medical curiosity aspect, these are real people facing confusion, stigma sometimes, just profound uncertainty about their own bodies.
Right, absolutely. So let's dive in. That first one, the waking up drunk thing, Auto-Brewery Syndrome.
Yeah.
ABS, it just sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? How does that even work, medically speaking?
It is. It's a really bizarre mechanism. Essentially, you get an overgrowth of specific yeasts in the gut.
Yeast, like baker's yeast.
Exactly like that, yeah. Often Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the same one used in brewing and baking. It basically sets up a brewery.
In your intestines.
In your intestines. So when you eat carbohydrates, sugars, these yeasts ferment them.
Into alcohol.
Into ethanol, yeah. Right there inside you. It kind of turns your digestive system into a microbrewery.
Wow. And the symptoms, I guess, are exactly what you'd expect then.
Pretty much. Belching, bloating, slurred speech, stumbling around.
Looking drunk at like 10 in the morning.
Or any time, really. And think about the social side.
Oh, totally. How do you explain that?
To your boss.
To police, if you get pulled over.
Exactly. There are reports of people losing jobs, facing real skepticism from law enforcement, friends, family. It can be incredibly isolating.
Must be devastating.
And it's so rare, diagnosis is a huge challenge. It barely shows up in the medical literature.
Right. You often need specialized lab tests. Treatment isn't easy. Either involves a massive dietary change, like constantly watching for hidden sugars.
Like a perpetual low-carb diet, but extreme.
Pretty much. And often long courses of antifungal meds, too. Awareness is slowly growing. Things like a BBC profile helped.
But it's still largely unknown.
Very much so. It really clashes with our basic understanding of intoxication.
Okay, so from the body brewing alcohol, let's switch gears to something affecting identity perception, maybe. Foreign accent syndrome, FAS.
Right.
Your own voice changes involuntarily to an accent you don't have. That's wild.
It is. And what's striking is that it usually happens after some kind of brain event.
Like a stroke or head injury.
Exactly. Stroke, head trauma, something that affects the brain. And we're talking maybe a few dozen confirmed cases globally. It's incredibly rare.
So it's definitely not someone just like putting on an accent.
No, not at all. It's not mimicry. It's neurological. The brain's control over the muscles involved in speech, the timing, the intonation gets altered. I just can't imagine the frustration. People must think you're faking it.
That happens, yes. And there's this feeling of, estrangement from your own voice, from people around you who don't understand.
It must feel like you've lost a part of yourself.
It really highlights how tied our identity is to our voice. Interestingly, some patients do recover with a lot of speech therapy.
Okay.
But for others, that new accent, it's permanent. It's actually a unique window into the brain's plasticity, how it can reorganize, sometimes in unexpected ways.
Wow. Okay, another shift. Sticking with things that affect how we're perceived, but maybe less subtle. Fish odor syndrome. Trimethylaminoria.
Ah, yes. This one involves a pervasive body odor.
Yeah, the name kind of gives it away. What's the mechanism there?
It comes down to a specific gene, the FMO3 gene. There's a fault in it.
Okay. And what does FMO3 normally do?
It's supposed to break down a chemical called trimethylamine, or TMA.
PMA.
Right. TMA is found in foods like fish, eggs, some legumes. It has a really strong, sharp smell.
Like rotting fish, basically.
That's the description, yes. So if your FMO3 gene isn't working right, you can't break down TMA. It builds up.
And then?
The body gets rid of it through sweat, urine, your breath.
So the person emits this odor constantly.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's unavoidable for them.
Now, this isn't physically dangerous inside the body, right?
Yeah.
It's not harming organs.
No, internally it's not dangerous.
Yeah.
But the impact on mental and emotional health, it's devastating.
I can only imagine. Social isolation, bullying, people assuming it's poor hygiene.
Exactly. It leads to immense social anxiety, depression, The burden is huge. There are ways to manage it, like really strict diets to avoid TMA precursors.
Cutting out fish, eggs.
Yeah, and beans and other things. Sometimes antibiotics can help by reducing gut bacteria that also produce TMA.
But no cure.
No real cure, unfortunately. It really shows how profoundly a biological quirk, something genetic, can shape someone's entire life experience in the social world.
God, that's tough. Okay, let's move to something truly, truly terrifying. Fatal Familial Insomnia, FFI.
Yeah, this one is. It's grim. It attacks the fundamental need for sleep.
Fatal Familial Insomnia. So it runs in families, and it kills you because you can't sleep.
That's essentially it. It's a neurodegenerative prion disease.
Prion, like CJD or mad cow.
It shares molecular characteristics, yes. Prions are misfolded proteins that cause other proteins to misfold, leading to brain damage. In FFI, the damage centers on the thalamus, which is critical for sleep regulation.
So what happens?
It starts subtly, maybe trouble sleeping, but it progresses relentlessly. The ability to sleep is just destroyed completely.
Look, you just can't sleep, ever.
Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
And that leads to the breakdown of autonomic functions controlling body temperature, hormones, then cognitive chaos, dementia.
And death.
And death, usually within about 1 to 3 years from the onset of serious symptoms. It's a brutal progression.
How rare is this?
Extremely rare. We're talking maybe a few dozen families identified worldwide carrying the specific mutation in the PRNP gene.
Wow. And knowing it's familial. Watching relatives go through it, knowing it could be your fate.
It's harrowing. The case studies are heartbreaking. Families live with this shadow.
Is there any treatment? Anything at all?
As of now, 2024, it's really just palliative care, managing symptoms, trying to provide comfort. There's no cure, no way to stop the prion process once it starts.
But I suppose studying it teaches us.
Immensely. It's advanced our understanding of prions, obviously, but it also starkly underlines how absolutely essential sleep is. Not just rest, but a fundamental biological process we can't live without.
Yeah. Makes you appreciate being able to sleep. Okay, let's shift to something visually striking, but usually less dangerous. Harlequin syndrome.
Right, Harlequin syndrome. This one is quite peculiar looking.
What happened?
You see this really lopsided facial response, usually triggered by heat, stress, or exercise.
Lopsided how?
One half of the face will flush pink or red and sweat normally, but the other half stays completely pale and dry.
Wow, like a perfect line down the middle.
Often, yes. That's where the Harlequin name comes from, like the split masks in old Italian theater.
What causes that? Is it genetic, like FFI?
No, it's usually not genetic. It's typically caused by some kind of damage or interruption to the sympathetic nervous system on one side of the neck or face.
Damage like an injury.
Could be. Sometimes it happens after neck surgery or a birth injury or other trauma. But interestingly, sometimes it just appears spontaneously in healthy people with no obvious cause.
That's strange. Is it dangerous?
Generally, no. It's usually considered benign. The main impact is cosmetic and sometimes social awkwardness. Treatment isn't usually needed unless they find a specific underlying cause, like a nerve compression or, rarely, a tumor.
I saw something about this on social media recently, someone documenting it.
Yes. People like Sydney Patrice sharing their experience has actually raised a lot of public awareness about it. It's a great example of how something can look dramatic but be medically quite minor, though still significant for the person experiencing it.
Right. Okay, so the body's mechanics can go weirdly wrong. What about when our perception itself gets warped? Alice in Wonderland syndrome, AIWSES.
Ah, yes. This one is fascinating. It involves distortions in perception, making the world feel very surreal, like something out of the book.
What kind of distortions?
The classic ones are things like seeing objects or parts of your own body as the wrong size, like your hands suddenly looking huge.
That's macropsia.
Macropsia, exactly. Or things looking tiny and far away, micropsia. People might feel like they themselves are shrinking or growing. Time can feel distorted too, speeding up or slowing down.
That sounds incredibly disorienting, maybe even scary.
It can be, especially for children who experience it more often than adults.
What triggers it? Is it like a permanent state?
No, it usually happens in episodes. And it's often linked to migraines, particularly the aura phase.
Oh, right.
Also, viral infections like Epstein-Barr virus, the one that causes mono, head trauma can trigger it too. But sometimes episodes just happen without any clear reason and then resolve on their own.
And the Lewis Carroll connection, is that real?
Well, it's speculated. He suffered from severe migraines, and some historians and neurologists think his own experiences might have influenced the bizarre size changes and perceptual shifts he wrote about in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
That's pretty cool, actually.
It is. Treatment-wise, it's usually about managing the underlying cause if there is one, like migraine prevention meds or antivirals. For most people, especially kids, it's temporary and not dangerous, just weird.
Definitely weird. Okay, from the mind's tricks to something physical and incredibly severe right from birth. Harlequin ichthyosis.
Yes, this is one of the most severe genetic skin disorders known. It's visually shocking and historically had a very poor prognosis.
What does it look like, the name Harlequin?
It's different from Harlequin syndrome. Here, babies are born encased in extremely thick, plate-like scales of skin, almost like armor.
Armor?
Yeah, thick, yellowish, hardened plates separated by deep red cracks or fissures. This pulls the skin incredibly tight, often distorting facial features, grotesquely turning eyelids and lips inside out, restricting movement.
Oh my God, what causes that?
It's a severe mutation in a gene called ABCA12. This gene is vital for transporting lipids, fats, to the outermost layer of the skin. Without that transport, the skin barrier doesn't form properly.
And historically, you said?
Historically, survival beyond a few days or weeks was extremely rare. The risks were massive. Severe dehydration because the skin barrier doesn't hold moisture, difficulty breathing because the chest can't expand properly, and overwhelming infections getting into those deep fissures.
But things have improved.
Dramatically, yes. Advances in neonatal intensive care are key. Aggressive management right from birth, keeping them in high humidity incubators, careful skin care with emollients, and crucially the use of oral retinoids, which are related to vitamin A.
Retinoids help the skin develop more normally.
They can significantly reduce the scaling and improve skin function. It's transformed the outlook for some children. They face lifelong challenges, constant skin care, high risk of infection.
But they can survive.
Some can survive and thrive, yes. Every birthday is a huge milestone, a testament to medical progress and incredible family dedication. And again, social media has become a space for families to connect, share information, and raise awareness. You see stories of resilience that are just astounding.
That's incredible progress.
Yeah.
Now, what about the opposite problem? Not too much skin, but not feeling something essential. Congenital insensitivity to pain, CIP.
Right, where the body's warning system pain is just absent.
You literally cannot feel pain.
Correct. People with CIP or related conditions, often grouped under HSN hereditary sensory and autonomic neuropathies, have nerve pathways that simply don't transmit pain signals correctly or at all.
That sounds almost like a superpower at first glance, but I bet it's incredibly dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. Pain is protective. It teaches us instantly what's harmful. Without it, kids might bite their tongues or fingers severely, get terrible burns without noticing, break bones, and keep walking on them.
Oh, wow. Making injuries much worse.
Exactly. Repeated, unnoticed injuries are common. Serious infections can set in. Some forms also involve anhidrosis, the inability to sweat.
Which means they can't cool down.
Right. Leading to dangerous overheating, hyperthermia, especially in hot weather or during exercise. That can be lethal.
How rare is this?
Very rare. Sometimes it pops up in isolated communities due to genetic founder effects, like a specific village in Sweden where quite a few cases were documented.
Is there anything doctors can do? Can they, switch the pain system back on?
Unfortunately, no. There's no therapy to restore the sensation of pain. Management is all about extreme vigilance, constant monitoring, teaching awareness of potential injuries, protecting the body. Genetic research is ongoing, trying to understand the exact mechanisms.
Any experimental treatments?
There have been some trials exploring ways to modulate nerve function, sometimes using drugs like naloxone, which is usually used for opioid overdose, to see if it can unblock certain pathways, but it's still very early days. Mostly it's about careful management and preventing harm.
Right. A constant, lifelong vigilance. Okay, now you mentioned earlier that new discoveries are still happening. VXS syndrome. That sounds very new.
It is. It was only identified and named in 2020. A really recent discovery that's kind of shaking things up.
VXSS, what does it involve?
It's primarily an inflammatory disorder, mostly affecting men over 50. The symptoms can be quite varied and severe. Recurrent fevers, painful skin rashes, lung inflammation, inflammation of cartilage like in the ears and nose, plus blood abnormalities like anemia and low platelet counts.
Okay, so a systemic inflammation.
Yeah.
What's groundbreaking about it?
The cause. Researchers traced it back to mutations in a specific gene called UBA1, located on the X chromosome.
Okay.
But here's the key. These mutations aren't inherited. They're acquired mutations happening spontaneously in blood stem cells later in life. They're somatic mutations.
So not passed down from parents, but developing within the individual.
Exactly. And this was a big deal because it showed a new way adult-onset chronic inflammatory diseases can arise from these later-life genetic changes in blood cells. It connects fields like hematology and rheumatology in a new way.
That really does change the picture. How common is it thought to be?
Well, it's still being studied, but initial estimates are suggesting it might not be that rare among older adults with unexplained inflammatory symptoms. Maybe as common as 1 in every 4,000 older American men, potentially more.
It's surprisingly prevalent for something just discovered.
It is. It highlights how much we're still learning and how new genetic techniques are allowing us to identify diseases that were previously just lumped together as inflammation of unknown origin.
What about treatment?
Right now, it's challenging. Patients often need strong immunosuppressants like high-dose steroids or other targeted therapies, but responses can vary. Many are enrolling in clinical trials to figure out the best approaches as doctors map out the full spectrum of the syndrome. It's a real frontier area.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, for our final condition, let's go somewhere completely different. Coro syndrome, or genital retraction syndrome. This sounds more psychological.
It straddles a fascinating line between psychology, culture, and perception. Coro is characterized by this intense, overwhelming belief and fear that one's genitals, usually the penis in men, sometimes nipples or breasts in women, are shrinking or retracting into the body.
Shrinking into the body.
Yes. And crucially, there's often a fear that this retraction will lead to imminent death.
Wow. And this isn't physically happening?
No, there's no actual physical retraction or shrinkage occurring. It's a perception, a conviction, but the fear is incredibly real and powerful.
Where does this happen? Is it global?
It's most famously documented as occurring in specific cultural contexts, particularly in parts of Southeast Asia and some regions of Africa. What's really striking is that it can sometimes occur in outbreaks, almost like epidemics.
Academics of belief.
Essentially, yes. Dozens or even hundreds of people in a community might suddenly be affected by this panic simultaneously. It's thought to be linked to underlying cultural anxieties, social suggestion, and stress.
That must cause chaos.
Absolutely. Hospitals can be overwhelmed with terrified patients. There are accounts of people desperately trying to prevent the perceived retraction, sometimes leading to self-injury or accidental harm from methods used by others trying to help.
So even though there's no underlying physical disease, the suffering is completely real.
Totally real. And it requires intervention. Mostly that involves reassurance, counseling, sometimes anti-anxiety medication or psychiatric care to address the underlying panic and delusional belief.
It's an incredible example of the mind-body connection and maybe culture-body connection too.
Definitely. These Coro epidemics offer a really unique window into how belief systems, cultural narratives, stress, and potentially underlying mental health vulnerabilities can interact to create these dramatic shared experiences of bodily disturbance.
Okay. Wow. We've covered a lot of ground there. 10 truly mind-bending conditions. Reflecting on all of them, it's just astonishing, isn't it? And humbling. The human body, the human mind, they're capable of things far stranger than we usually imagine.
Absolutely. Each one really does stretch the known boundaries of biology, neurology, genetics, psychology.
And it makes you think about how we approach things that seem impossible.
It really underscores why doctors, researchers, all of us really, need to approach patients with openness and curiosity, especially when symptoms seem bizarre or unbelievable. What sounds like fantasy today might just be tomorrow's newly understood reality. And raising awareness, even of these super rare conditions, is so important. It helps patients get diagnosed faster, get the right support, and maybe feel a little less alone. It directly impacts lives.
We like to think we know so much, especially now, golden age of science and all that.
Right.
But these conditions are stark reminders of how much mystery remains. And every single person experiencing one of these anomalies has a story, a reality that deserves attention.
Exactly. Shining a light on these rarities. It doesn't just make medicine better. Hopefully it makes us all a bit kinder, a bit more curious, maybe more empathetic and ready to help when someone's struggling with something we don't immediately understand.
Knowledge and awareness really are key.
They're powerful tools.
So maybe the final thought to leave everyone with is, how much more is out there? How might our definition of normal keep expanding as science keeps uncovering these hidden corners of human biology?
It's a great question.
Definitely something to think about.
Yeah.
And if you are curious if any of these sparked your interest, there's so much more information out there. Medical sites, rare disease organizations, NORD, GARDAR, places like that. Worth exploring if you want to dive even deeper.